Hello and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on all our social networks for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. Two top Google executives have responded to a 3,300-word manifesto written by one of its male engineers that argues that women aren't suited for tech jobs for biological reasons. The issue immediately ignited a fierce debate on social media. Google Diversity Vice President Danielle Brown and Engineering Vice President Ari Baloch addressed last weekend's controversial document in separate messages to Google employees, condemning the document's assertions and defended Google's diversity efforts. The author, James Damore, who says he's now been fired, was reportedly a rank-and-file software engineer at Google. He contended that Google doesn't have more female engineers because men have a higher drive for status. He argued that the company's diversity programs, including seminars that teach young girls coding skills, are highly politicized. The diversity work, he said, alienates non-progressives. He also said he believes that Google's commitment to hire more women stands to make the company less competitive and that the gender wage gap is a myth. But Google's engineering vice president Ari Baloch struck back, saying such stereotyping is deeply troubling and harmful. Google leadership has for years publicly expressed the desire to increase diversity in its workforce. The debate continues. In other news, the number of Venezuelan asylum seekers in Mexico has grown strongly so far in 2017 as a reflection of a deepening political crisis that has left more than 120 people dead in the South American country. During the first 6 months of the year, Mexico received more than 1,400 applications for asylum from Venezuelans, almost 4 times more applications registered than the whole of 2016, according to official data. In the previous 2 years, no Venezuelan sought asylum in Mexico. Undersecretary for Latin America and the Caribbean Socorro Flores said the increase reflects the serious situation in the oil country, which since April has been plunged into violent protests against the government, which has just installed a controversial constituent assembly. The official said that about 40% of applications received this year have been approved, offering Venezuelans the chance to find work in Mexico, while the remaining applications are still being processed. Next week, foreign ministers from the region will meet in Lima to assess the situation in Venezuela, increasing pressure on President Nicolas Maduro after members of Mercosur suspended the country on Saturday, demanding that it restore democracy. Moving on. Believe it or not, banks now charge less than Infonavit for a mortgage. The Mexican Banking Association said all interest rates offered by banks at the moment are below the 12% offered by Infonavit. Competition in the mortgage sector remains fierce, and banks are struggling to obtain not only more clients, but also to attract mortgages that were already given by other institutions. Marcos Martinez, president of the Association of Banks of Mexico, said that the best example of healthy competition in the country is that the most expensive interest rate is that of Infonavit. According to data from the ABM, the preferred average rates of bank mortgages range from 10.4 to 11.3%. In 2000, Mexico's banking mortgage loan portfolio was worth $145 billion, a figure that rose to around $200 billion in 2007 and is currently 711 billion pesos. There are also lower interest rates. In 2000, mortgage interest rates were a staggering 20% and contracted at variable rate. Now, many mortgages are contracted at fixed rate, and the average rate is 10.97%. And finally, let's turn to the markets. The Mexican peso decreased 0.11% to 17.9238 from 17.9435 in the previous trading session. IPC Mexico increased 4 points, or 0.01%, to 51,241 from 51,238 in the previous trading session. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.